Welcome back to the channel, everyone. The wait is finally over. We got our Daredevil back. Disney and Marvel Studios released the first 2 episodes of this much-anticipated series, one that has a lot riding on it after the debacle that is Captain America Brave New World, which is basically a flop and exiting theaters due to poor performance at the box office. But before we begin, spoiler alert, we will be talking about plot points and surprises. Consider this your warning. Back to it. For Daredevil Born Again, all the pieces were there. Charlie Cox reprising the title role, Vincent D'Onofrio coming back as Wilson Fisk, the kingpin. We were even getting Karen Page and Foggy back to reunite the crime-fighting trio. Then, the opening hit, and Bullseye was back on a rampage. He was in a different getup, not quite comic accurate, but I can appreciate the effort. It was old-school Netflix Daredevil, gritty, violent, bloody, minimal cuts, incredible fight choreography. Daredevil and Bullseye just having a grudge match that would have made the Punisher proud. And then, original Daredevil fans got the gut punch. Foggy was dead. Karen was broken and gone, and Matt Murdock was no longer Daredevil. And here is the dilemma I find myself in. Torn between being patient with Marvel, who seems to be building a storyline with a slow burn, and being impatient with Marvel, because I want the costume vigilante way more than what I got him for. Basically the opening 10 minutes of the first episode, and a brief fight scene out of costume in the last 5 minutes of the second episode. 2 hours of Daredevil content and only 10 minutes of actual Daredevil. It seemed that Marvel was leaning heavily on the political and legal machinations of our hero and our villain, more than the comic book action I was expecting wall to wall. But then again, the story that is being told is a good one. There's a crime, there's a race to uncover the truth, a return of the Kingpin to New York City, his rise to power as mayor, Matt Murdock's journey through grief over Foggy's death, and his rejection of his vigilante lifestyle. A new love interest. In short, there's a lot of shit going on. And this is a slightly different Kingpin, one that has gone through the wash and ringer of multiple D-plus series. In the original shows, he was an absolute monster. The way he crushed some guy's head in a car door, or how he absolutely manhandled the Punisher in prison. This is a softer, more strategic Wilson Fisk, and one that does not lead with violence, but leads with manipulation. There are still signs of his anger. In one scene, his knuckles are messed up as if he was beating on someone before breakfast, and there is the odd take on his relationship with Vanessa, a woman who he devoted everything to. Now, forgive me if I sound insensitive, Wilson Fisk is in marriage therapy. If there was a ridiculous moment in the show, that was it. Wilson Fisk sharing his feelings. And yes, I know he displayed some of that in Echo, but the more the narrative oscillates between Kingpin as mayor and Wilson Fisk as cuckold husband, the less menacing he seems. And maybe that is the point. Maybe that will be the ignition switch that gives us back the monster. Then again, even Daredevil himself mentions to Fisk that he lost weight, maybe gained some muscle, but looks leaner and thinner. We'll have to wait and see. These first 2 episodes, while not jam-packed with action, are the equivalent of a chessboard being set up, the pieces being moved into place, true intentions still being masked, internal conflict still being fought, both in Fisk and Matt, and the environment of New York City being turned into a simmering powder keg getting ready to blow. There are subplots and callbacks to the original series, such as BB, the internet journalist following in the footsteps of her uncle Ben Urich, Vanessa's takeover of Wilson's empire in his absence and being better at it than he was, and allusions to other Marvel properties such as Punisher and Spider-Man, one of which we expect to see in upcoming installments. For the most part, we are being introduced and reintroduced to our 2 main characters and the people who are in their orbit, and we are being set up for what is to come. Now, for the inevitable comparisons to the original Netflix series and the comparisons to the rest of the D-plus Marvel lineup. While it may seem a little early with just 2 episodes out, there is a noticeable fidelity to the original 3 seasons from 2015. There is a lack of the standard Marvel comedy that breaks up the action and more serious moments of other MCU productions. The lighting, the color palette, the cinematography, the pacing, even the opening credits are trying to recapture the lightning in a bottle that was those original offerings, which is what fans want. However, there is that Marvel touch to everything, where it just looks cleaner, smoother, which is not always a good thing when the original is famous for being dirty. Us comic book fans love our dirty grittiness as opposed to polished grittiness. And probably my biggest issue with this series compared to the original is the amount of CGI being used, especially when Daredevil is on the rooftops in the beginning of episode 1. It lacked authenticity, and it was too obvious that the CGI machine was not up to completing the task. But then again, maybe it's just me being picky. Will it ultimately prove successful, and that remains to be seen? Will the narrative remain grounded, or will it go off in some unconventional space that leaves us scratching our heads? Will it tie into anything that is upcoming, another series or a future film? For sure, that last one is probably a safe bet. But how does it compare with other Marvel series? Well, these 2 episodes are better than almost anything Disney Plus has put out there. Sure, there are moments in WandaVision, Loki Season 2, and that about does that. It's no secret on this channel that I have not found any of the other Marvel series, with the exception of X-Men 97, an animated show, at all good. Echo, Secret Invasion, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Agatha all along, all of them are terrible. So the low bar for Daredevil has already been surpassed by just 2 episodes in. So yes, I think this is already the best Marvel TV show ever produced, and I've really enjoyed the show so far. And if it keeps up this kind of quality, what we'll end up with is a standard now for Marvel to look at and say, that's how you do it right. And that's what I think. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and let me know what you think in the comment section below. I thank you for watching. As always, I'm your reluctant gringo from south of the border. Salud and a huevo.